Good evening, traders. This is Praj. It's Saturday, and if you're like me who breathes, eats, sleeps, and wakes up with the market, I'm sure you all are thinking about the market and cannot wait for it to open on Monday. My purpose of making this video is I know on Friday we had a great run with stocks like Tesla and the NASDAQ breaking all-time highs and keeping that momentum. A lot of y'all might be watching trades on the long side. And what I want to do is, as educational purposes, share the levels I'm looking at. I'm a technical trader. So what that means is I'm looking for retest. So the market has ran up, but retest is something that actually helps the market continue the momentum. So before we get into the futures, QQQ, SPY, and a few of the stocks, I want to make sure to share with you all, like always. Quick before we get started, it's a disclaimer. This video is for educational purposes only. It is not financial advice or a trade recommendation. Always do your own research and trade at your own risk. That being said, let's get right into it. I know everyone's like, hey, Praj, what levels are you talking about? We're breaking all-time high. So I'm going to start with the futures. This is the NASDAQ chart. And like we can see, on Friday we opened and we saw a rejection at the 20,061 level. And that candle came right back into a demand of 24,007, and where we have seen multiple holds on Thursday. After that hold, we saw that it attempted to break 20,061 again, but we saw that it rejected, and eventually around 10:15, that's when we saw the breakout, hold, and then continuation where once it held that level, you knew that that's where we were going to stay throughout the day. What I also want you to do is look at it on a longer term. On a chart, what I mean by longer term is on a higher time frame chart. So the 24,007 level, which has been held, if you look at the hourly chart, it has held there multiple times. So we know there's a lot of buyers up there, which has helped the market go up. We definitely had a candle where it came down to retest 23,970, which was also a very important level. But as you can see, that candle was brought right back up, and we were right above the 24,007 level. What I would be looking for on Monday is, I'm sure a lot of y'all, let me draw it so that I can share what I know a lot of y'all are probably just looking for it to go like this, but what I would say would actually be very bullish for the market to do is come back down, test these levels, probably even come back down and hold this and eventually give us that breakthrough, where we can trade it as well. Because a lot of y'all who might be doing prop firms or trading, we do not want it to just keep on going up because it will not give us any level. So, example, what I would be looking at on Monday is once the market opens on Sunday, I might live stream on Sunday around 6 o'clock when the market opens. But what I want to see is it coming back down, faking out, probably holding this level, and then that giving us a confirmation that it does want to hold this level, or even having a larger pullback to the 24,007, which for me has been an amazing entry level to catch for futures and then reclaiming the 24.45, 24.61, and then keeping that momentum continuation. So that's just something to keep in mind that a pullback to this level would not be bad. It would does not mean that we're losing the higher momentum. It just means that we need to come back down to get more buyers so we can keep pushing up. We cannot just keep pushing up where, buyers get exhausted. It's always, if you see longer term trends, the market pushes up, comes back down, accumulates buyer again, does a push up, comes back down, accumulates buyer, and then it continues on. And that's what a market trend normally looks like. So again, for NQ, I would be looking at 24,045 to hold. If it does not hold, then the next level would be 24,007. If we do not see holes there as well, then I think 23,970 would be a major level for sure. But based on the momentum we saw on Friday, I'm sure 24,061 and 24,007 is something that will see a lot of reaction at or a lot of talk going on. For those who like to play options, I just wanted to cover QQQ. We saw a similar pattern on QQQ, which is the ETF for the NASDAQ, where on Friday open, let me make sure we can look at the candles like that. On Friday open, the 585 level, it looked like it was going to hold and then it came back down. And we kind of see that in the past, the 583.45 has been a whole place. It came back down, accumulated buyers, but I'm sure because of the strength we saw on NASDAQ, it came back right above. It faked out some of the sellers again over here. So some sellers, it faked them out thinking, oh, it's going to come back right down, and it went right back up and it stayed there throughout the day. Again, for this, what I would like to see is if you're a trader who is looking for a confirmation, we would want to see uh, it come down here, hold a few candles, and then probably continue on. That could be one scenario. The other scenario can be we get a deeper pullback to 583.45. It tries to fake some sellers, comes back up, and then it reclaims 585, and then it keeps on going up. So that would be bullish again, like I mentioned. So, one of the places where you want to be careful is if it does break down below 585 and is unable to reclaim it, that just means that, the bulls need a deeper pullback, which is 83 or even 81. I know from this point, an 81 pullback would be close to 5 points. But if you see the amount of run up that the QQQ has done this week, so let me just go to the weekly chart, and if you look at the candle on the weekly chart, we opened at 570. The low of the week, sorry, was 577, and the high of the week was 588. That's 10 points. It's not that it has ran a lot, but when you continuously see that, the market's going up, it definitely needs a little bit of cool off. And that's what I am mentioning when I say the retest. The retest does not mean that we're losing momentum. It just means that when we had so much of a run up, we're just looking to come back down a little bit, get more buyers in. Sometimes we also see that because a lot of the people who had earlier entries are taking profits. So they're taking their profits because they feel they want to have better entries in the future. They're booking their profits, so that's why we see that momentum going. Again, for QQQ, I would be watching 585, 583.45, and 581. Above, I think for rejections, again, we can see 587.79. If we break and hold that, we can definitely. A lot of times, I feel when we are in price discovery, I look for psychological levels. So 590 would be the next level to watch. When a stock goes into price discovery, a lot of times psychological pricing is something that we want to keep in mind because we might see orders up there already. The next thing I wanted to talk about is ES futures, which is S&P 500 futures, where we see a very clear case of faking buyers in this scenario. So ES in the morning tried to do a push-up where it was rejecting 6,600. And then the level a lot of the buyers were watching was, which was also the rejection level throughout the morning, was 65.95. It tried to do a fake out, but it rejected at 6,600. Sorry, it's a little difficult to say that. And then it came back down, accumulated more buyers, tried to do a push at the end, and got a hard rejection to come back into this zone. This zone can also beat like job zone. So what I mean by that is if we are unable, so say on Sunday and Monday we see a rejection again here, they ultimately what I would be looking at is a deeper pullback to 65 65 and try to see if we see holes over there so that we can come back to the channel entry and look for it to retest that again. Also, if you're looking for a long in this scenario, it's always good to get entries at the bottom of the channel. So, example, if you're looking for a long here, your risk to reward is very small because we have seen multiple rejections over here. So if it does that, it is not a smart trade because we have seen rejections over here. We've seen rejections over here. If it does that again, it has already told us that it has done that in the past and it can do that again. So over there, a long entry is something that I wouldn't be looking at personally. For me, it would be a break, retest, hold. So that's the confirmation strategy. If we looked at the higher time frame in the chart, we do see that this level 6,600 were rejected. It came back down. It tried to break that level but was unable to, and it came right back down. But what ES always does is it goes in this pattern where it breaks, holds levels. See over here, it tried to break a bigger level. It got a big rejection. I know there was also some news over here. So. Yeah, we definitely also have to look out for that when specifically when we're trading futures. With me, I'm doing the prop firms with Apex, and also I just got an account on Friday with Take Profit Trader. One of the reasons I did that is I found their concept very interesting. So once you are done with the evaluation stage for Take Profit Trader, let me see if I could pull up their website. So what I wanted to mention is once you are done with the evaluation stage for Take Profit Trader and you get funded, which they call their pro accounts. So this is what I was talking to you all about. So once you're done with, so I'm doing the 50K account. So in the 50K account, basically During the evaluation, you have to cross 3,000, trade for 5 days. So when you cross 53, yeah, 5,000, 53,000, you get your funded account. And in your funded account, you can start withdrawing immediately from day one as long as you meet the threshold. So what I mean by that is if you get a 50K account like I did and you cross to the 2000, so 52,000, anything above that, you can start taking profit immediately. And I haven't taken a profit yet, but I have seen individuals who have shared online where the profits, because they use Stripe, I believe, or Plaid. My apologies. They use Plaid, so the cash out is done immediately into the account. Definitely something that I'm going to try. I just got the account on Friday, so I'll keep you all updated on that. Sorry for the tangent, but I just felt like, it's something that um, a lot of people look at Apex and the other ones, and I like the concept, so something to look for. And now talking about ES, like I said, I would be looking same like NQ. I'm not really looking for it to really have a big breakthrough, but I would rather want to see it come back to 65, 65, accumulate, and then give us a push, break, retest, and then give us a continuation. So please look for that. The levels above, like I mentioned, would be 6,600. So it's like a zone for me. It's 6,600 and 6,595, and at the lower end it is 6,565, and below that I would say 6,523. Now looking at the SPY, very similar. A lot of times, the ETFs follow futures in a way where it's very similar for them to have that same momentum or probably have those rejections where it's very predictable. That's what I'm trying to say. So I don't want to take up a lot of your time. SPY pretty much did the same thing where it rejected in on Thursday this 658.33. It came back down on Friday in the morning. It tried doing that. So let me go to a smaller time frame so I can show you all much more clearly what I'm talking about. So as you all can see, it came over here, it tried breaking this, it got rejected. It tried over here again, it got rejected. And finally, end of the day, it tried breaking through where everyone was like, yeah, there's a lot of longs, let's enter long, especially with this candle. I mean, this candle looks more like a confirmation candle if you're looking for it. It's a really good scalping candle because you know you're gonna get a good move, but it's not a long candle where you would try and get an option, especially with zero DTEs and stuff. And then it got a hard rejection where you can see it's currently rejecting that level again. So on the top, I would look for 658.33. Below for support, I would look at 654.80. Let me turn this red because now we know that's a rejection point for us. And below that, I would be looking at 652.21 and 650 52. So we saw the futures, we saw NASDAQ, like I mentioned, looking for that pullback. We saw QQQ, we saw ES futures, and then we saw SPY. I know a lot of you all specifically are very curious to know. Tesla, we had an amazing run up, but as a technical trader, what I want to share with you all is I want to go to a longer time frame, which is the hourly time frame. And what I want to share with you all is I know there's a lot of talk about Tesla over here, but look at the accumulation where it was making higher low and higher highs. I think a lot of times as traders, when you understand this and you understand the fact that you know, stocks really tell you a story about, what they're looking to do. And when we see that it's holding the SMAs, it's trying to do a breakthrough, this has to be a longer term play because if you try and play this with options, you're really going to get chopped up. Obviously, you can play the levels, like, even I'll share with you all the 367 level over here, something that I was watching on Thursday. But if you try and play this with options, it's going to be very difficult for you to time the market. I think a lot of traders who try and time the market, that is where a lot of times they lose money. So I always say, instead of timing the market, believe in your concept, believe in your story. If you believe Tesla is a strong company, and buy the dips, buy shares on it, so that if you're looking for it to generate value for you, you can sell covered calls. That ways you have minimal risk, but you're still doing return and your money is still growing for you. So that being said, on Thursday, we saw that Tesla definitely had a run where at the end of the day it broke above the 367.34 level. And I want to show you this on a 15-minute chart. It broke above that at the end of the day, and it never came below that. When you see something like this, in my opinion, is expected. So, in my trading career and in my trading history, if a stock breaks through and does not even do one single fake out, so it held one, two, three, and in the morning, if it's above that, you have to take that chance where it's telling you that story that it wants to go to the next level, which was 395, which it really amazingly. It's also a lot of people I know said psychologically it was 400. I think I believe it was more 395. If you look at the hourly chart, I think that's where I got the 395 from a previous level. Let me actually go to a daily chart. So if you look at the daily chart, sorry. I just want to make sure you all are able to see the story that I'm seeing. So over here, 395 was I'm sorry. When we go back so much in a chart, it's like a lot of the drawings, especially being a technical trader, you have these previous drawings that you need to clean up. So I apologize for that. But like I said, this is a 4-hour chart. Look at the holes we see over here on 395, 395, even over here where it gave us that push. That is where the 395 came in. And also, when it had the breakthrough, it acted as resistance over here, which gave us that drawdown. So that's the reason 395 was the next level. On a 4-hour chart on a candle, it's definitely looking like it's going to be holding this. But the thing I want to mention to y'all is it had a great run up. And the thing to watch out over here is it will not be bearish if it comes back down and does a retest of this. Tesla can definitely do that and it'll still be bullish for it to come back down, do a retest of this level, accumulate more buyers before going back and breaking this. So if you're going to blindly long Tesla on Monday morning, thinking that it's going to keep that momentum going, my request to you would be let it tell you what it wants to do before you just go with the story it has already told you. If a stock does a run up 2 days in a row, it can definitely keep continuing, but it also needs to accumulate more buyers. So I personally would be watching what it does at 395.45. And below that, if it does come down, if it rejects 395, or does it really hold that level? If it starts rejecting that level and we see market weakness, it can come back down to 367, and they will still be bullish, where we can see more accumulation in terms of, think about it like this, right? It comes back down, we see rejections, and then we see those Tesla candles where it's like right here, and then we see this, and everyone starts buying puts, and then the next thing you know, we see Tesla just going back up, and by maybe say a day or two, it reclaims this, retests this, and then it does like a 400 run, and all these people are stuck with shorts, have to eventually take their loss, only because they felt, oh, they got the golden opportunity. The stock is strong, 100%. I completely agree to you on that, but every strong stock needs a pullback to continue its momentum. So the level to watch again would be 395, 367, and also a zone over here, which is 359 and 356. Another interesting stock is the consolidation that's happening with Nvidia. So we are on a 15-minute chart. We didn't really see a lot of moves happening with Nvidia, but if you can see, it's holding the 20 SMA, and it's between this zone, which is 176.41 and 179. For us to see a continuation, I would be looking at if you can break and hold this and then do a continuation. Or very good example of why the hold is important is, look at this. On Thursday, it opened, it did a breakthrough, and everyone started getting into calls, but we did not get a hold. We got a candle bringing us right back down into this zone, and everyone entering here is stuck with those calls. And, unfortunately, if you were in weekly options, it, you probably lost all your premium on this one, because from here, it never even came close to this level. But it kept on holding this. So you knew not to short below this, because it had to break the 20 and 176 for you to have a short entry to 174. So the levels I would be watching is 174, 176 for holds, and for rejections 179 and 183. Also, another interesting semi to watch is Broadcom. The thing with Broadcom is it's very strong. We haven't seen it really do a move on Friday. It So the level I was watching was 360. So I wanted to see what it really does at 360, because when we got this move on Wednesday, it came back down to 360 and held, and then tried to see if we can keep that accumulation going. Right now it's below, but I still feel like what we could be watching is, let me go on to a short time frame over here. So if you see, these beautiful holes over here at 360, 360, we just want to see if it can reclaim. So let me draw it for y'all. It can reclaim, hold, and give us like a really nice green candle where we know the momentum is towards the upside. We also want to make sure we watch other semiconductors like Nvidia and the SMH, which is the Semiconductor ETF. That really would be bullish, if the market obviously is going up, but we also want to make sure we watch that. If we see rejections at 360, I would be watching for holds at 354. It really went right through in this zone. So if it comes back below 354, I think it's going to be in this zone again, where 354 acts as a resistance. And then I think a long entry would be 332. 332 has been a good hold. But it's like a chop zone where, it spent a few days over there before really having a breakthrough. So we wanted to really hold that breakthrough. Also, a lot of times when stocks go away far further from the 20 SMA, they do tend to come down to the 20 SMA. So if I can show you over here, every time the stock goes further away, it comes back down. In this scenario, it actually went back to the 50. Then it came back to the level, it came back to the 50, and then we had like a great run up over here. The markets were also very strong in this scenario, so the run up was exponential compared to, the other times that we might be able to see. But again, over here you can see the great holds of the 20. So something to keep in mind. Um, the last two stocks I want to talk about, I know the video is already 30 minutes, but I just feel these are stocks a lot of us watch, and I specifically like watching it because they have a lot of potential. So I'm definitely accumulating these. Not more for option plays, more for accumulation on levels because markets are strong. We can see moves, but we also want to be accumulating for a long term because that's where a lot of the gains also come in. So I'm going to keep it short and simple with the this one and the next one. So Palantir. It We saw good holds of 169. We wanted to hold 169, and then we can see a push to 174. If it rejects 169, we're gonna see 164 again. It's been around 164 for a while, so we do know that's a good hold zone. But it broke 169. Why not test 174 and keep on going up? And the last stock I want to talk about is OKLO. In a previous video, I spoke to you all about how I'm buying this stock for the long term. And my goal, first, my phase one goal. So every time I have a goal, I normally try and break it down into phases. So my phase one goal is getting 100 shares on this equity so that I can start selling covered calls. I think the IV is pretty interestingly nice on this. So you can make a good return on your investment just by selling covered calls. At least that's what I like to do. So I was accumulating in this zone, and then we saw, as always, it held the 69 level. I think when I started buying, it was close to 74-ish, and then it kept on going down, where at one point it even was below the 50 SMA for a few, I would say a few candles. But I knew I was going to be looking at holding till 59.21 breaks, so it never really came back down there. It reclaimed the 69.54 level, held there, ultimately reclaimed. So let me show you. So ultimately reclaimed the 20 SMA over here. Look at this candle. Really amazing. And then right now, we see that holes coming in on Thursday at the 72.96 and it breaking through and right now holding the 80. 84.99 would be the next level to watch. If we see rejections over there, that's not at all bearish. That's completely understandable because if I am not mistaken, that is the level that's on the daily chart where it's been rejecting. So we see multiple rejections on 84.99, where we had a deeper pullback coming and testing the 50 and ultimately going back down. We need market strength for this. Also, we see amazing holds of the 50 SMA. So you see 50 SMA hold over here, 50 SMA hold over here, even over here where it came back down to 200, and then ultimately the technicals are playing out. So the levels again, I would be watching for OKLO. OKLO has a lot of momentum behind it. Because of the sector it's in, it has government sentiment. The government is looking to do a lot of advances in this sector. And most importantly, it is fueled by the whole AI momentum that's going on because AI technology, fueled with nuclear power, is something that seems to be the next big thing. So OKLO is going to be a big player because of their products, and I did a similar video on that about OKLO and why I'm buying. So please go check that out. So the levels I would be watching on OKLO is 78.50 and 80 to hold. If we see holds of that level, we would go back to 85, so 84.99. If we see a rejection of that level, we would come back down closer to the 20, so 20 SMA, so 72.96. Um, it's something, OKLO is something that I personally feel is a long-term hold with a lot of potential. You just want to be accumulating at these levels. We have seen that with Palantir, where if you really go onto the weekly chart, right, it had a great run, and then it had like this phase where it was sold off. And then after it really got sold off, let me see if I can really tell you the story. So it had a great run, and then it was in the hundreds, like 120, and then it came back down to the 60s, so it lost 50% of its value. And then people really understood, oh yeah, there's a lot more to Palantir, and obviously, the momentum behind it. And now you see, if we just calculated, not the lows over here, but even if you say you would have accumulated closer to the 86, and at the peak, it was almost 104. So, I mean, that's amazing. That's a lot of return for just holding that stock for close to a year. When we look at returns like that, it's pretty amazing to see that. You can also see that with OKLO, I believe. I saw a video where they were talking about the 800% run up OKLO had in a year, which it sounds really amazing. OKLO at one point was a $10 stock. Today it's 82. But it's think about it. You gotta be believing in that concept right over here as it goes up and down. You get a lot of buyers when it's going up, but when it's going down like this, that's where the conviction really comes in, knowing that, you know what? And also, it is about your financial. If your entries are over here, then it's going to be very difficult for you to be holding this, and convincing yourself with the whole concept that it's going to work out, because looking at it in hindsight, oh yeah, I should have bought over here. If we can see the future, trust me, everyone would have bought millions and millions of dollars worth of share over here and would have been sitting on billions right now. But that's not how it works. We as traders look at technicals. We believe in strong companies and strong fundamentals. So please do check that out. Thank you so much for watching this video. I'm really appreciative of how our community is growing. So if you find value with this video, please share it with your friends. I want to be growing this community. When I started this whole channel, I was very scared because I didn't know how it was going to turn out. Even when a lot of the videos that I wanted to do, I'm a person who runs behind perfection, so I was trying to make it perfect and I wasn't really satisfied, but I realized the most important thing over here is the levels that I share and how equities behave at that level. So that is what I wanted to focus on. And I'm really, really appreciative of everyone who tunes into this video and supports the channel. I want to share my experience. I want to try and help people out there, just so that, if these levels can help them make better trading decisions, I think that is the ultimate goal. So my request would be if you could please share it with as many people as you can. I want to keep the community growing. I want to eventually do a lot of stuff for all of y'all. I'm going to be reaching out. So, like I mentioned in one of my videos, I have been reaching out to a lot of brands to see how I can start giving back to the community and how create that impact where all the traders believe in themselves. I know we have ups and downs, but when we stick together, we are together. It's an amazing community. So thank you again. I wish everyone an amazing, successful week. Keep trading, keep doing what you do. For those who are going to be enjoying the weekend with their family, have a great time. Please do not I don't worry about trading. I live by myself, so trading for me is something that as soon as I have my eyes open, my mind working, I'm thinking about trading. But please spend some quality time with your family. Monday is going to be right around the corner, so we just got one more day and we're going to be right back in action. So take care of yourself. Again, I'm really appreciative of everyone watching this video. Thank you so much, and I wish you all a great week ahead. Take care. Bye-bye.